Hello, Mind Bloomers. This is Mind Bloom, the safe space at the intersection of mental health advocacy and breast cancer awareness. Mind Bloom is your podcast. Subscribe to hear more on female entrepreneurship and the juggling of family life, career goals, and romantic relationships. Not an easy task, especially if your physical and mental health need a big hug right now. Hello, Mind Bloomers. This is Marina G, your host, and welcome to Mind Bloom, the podcast for all things mental health and breast cancer awareness. Before we dive into this week's episode, let me just say that Mind Bloom, the podcast, and the content at Mind Bloom U across all platforms is not intended to be a substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. You should always contact your providers for medical counsel. Never disregard any medical treatment or delay seeking professional help because of any content authored or distributed by Mind Bloom. Hi guys, hello, and welcome to Mind Bloom. Once again, another Tuesday, here we are. I am so pleased to know that you're on the other side of this line and that I'm here speaking to you from New York City and from Brooklyn to the world, really. Egypt and Thailand and Portugal, my home country, and Canada, Australia. This is so mind-blowing. It's amazing to have you. Thank you. And thank you for following Mind Bloom on Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook. And thank you for subscribing to Mind Bloom on YouTube. And thank you for commenting and liking and staying engaged with me, mostly on Instagram and Twitter. I love you all. I am currently at 964 followers on Instagram. And please, I just want to ask you, go ask your mom and dad and distant cousin and all your exes and let's see, your auntie and your stepdad, stepmom. Just go ask everyone, your neighbor, your grocery store delivery guy, your postal service person. Go ask them to follow Mind Bloom on Instagram. I want to hit 1,000 followers, please. Thank you guys for being here with me. I feel your company, I feel your warmth, and it just gives me all the fuzzy feelings. It's amazing. Thank you. Now, because I'm such a type A kind of person, the overachiever kind of person, the anxiety-ridden kind of person, and just a control freak, not so much anymore, luckily, but kind of person, I usually have my Mind Bloom episodes ready to go and even published on Monday night. That was not the case this week. Today is Tuesday morning, the day of the release of episode 15 of Mind Bloom, and I'm still recording. So this is unseen and completely uncharted territory for Mind Bloom and for myself. But you know what? I was not in my best mental shape yesterday, and I just could not finish the episode. There, I've said it. I think a little bit of overwork and just this need to fulfill, everyone's expectations, sometimes everyone's, but mine, just got the best of me. And, I worked Saturday. I went to church on Sunday and was busy doing things with my community and my congregation. And then I met a friend later. And so basically I didn't rest up during the weekend, and I didn't take time for myself during the weekend. And I believe on Monday I was pretty beat and was feeling all the symptoms of anxiety and all the symptoms of having had anxiety for a few days in a row. I was reading a post on Instagram yesterday by my good friend Sheridan Ruth, and she was pointing out all the symptoms of anxiety, and people will feel some symptoms more than others. But I was going through that list, and I could practically check all the boxes. And the one that caught my attention the most was exhaustion. And, I know these things, and I know a lot about mental illness and about mental wellness and maintaining that balance of self-care and looking after your needs. But sometimes the intellectual aspect of it, just sometimes knowing the textbook symptoms is not enough. And I had to read the message of a friend of mine about exhaustion to really look into myself and realize that, yes, I was exhausted on a Monday morning when I should be ready to go and fully happy to embrace the new week ahead of me. And reading that post with those anxiety symptoms checklist was a wake-up call for me yesterday. I think at that moment, I gave myself permission to just feel tired, and I just let the exhaustion in. I remember I posted a story on Instagram saying, guys, I need to finish the episode for tomorrow, Tuesday. Should I plow through, or should I give in and take the day and rest and assess what's going on? And I had an overwhelming 97%, I believe, of people saying, yes, take a break, rest, take the day to yourself. And I didn't need to see the results of that poll. In fact, I only checked them today. I didn't need to check the results. I just gave in. I know by now that if you call it quits for 24 hours, maybe sometimes it's just the time of a nap, 2, 3, 4 hours. It gets better, at least in my case. So that's what I did. I stopped resisting, because resisting the urge to rest and be silent with my feelings was making me more exhausted. Therefore, what did I do? Since we're always looking for tips and ideas for dealing with this monster we have inside of us, which can be a blessing. I mean, it's our brain, and it's sometimes a curse too. And our pretty intelligent brains will drain us sometimes and get the best of us and bring us to exhaustion. So what did I do? Let's see. I think I started by asking for help to the right people. And by the right people, I mean my mental health community, which includes my psychiatrist. It includes my friends on Instagram. And it excludes those who I know now and I've accepted now will judge me and mock almost the works of my brain, and tell me to shake it off and tell me that it's okay, everything's okay, when, sometimes it's not. So that would be the first thing I did yesterday. So first thing in the morning, Second thing, I journaled. I wrote down a few sentences that I was needing to hear yesterday. Things like, if whatever it is I'm struggling with now fails, it does not mean I am a failure. It only means that I've tried and I put myself out there and I gave my best. And if it still fails, then, it happens. And I'm not talking about mind bloom. It's just something else that happened on a more personal level. What else did I do? Number 3, I think, in this list of ways I managed what was happening yesterday. I noticed what was going on in my body. So I noticed I had lost my appetite, which for me is the biggest of the red flags as far as depressive mood and anxiety goes. You know, sugar cravings and overeating and binging, they're all things I resort to with the ups and downs of life. But the thing that scares me the most, and that was for me the biggest symptom of my clinical depression more than 10 years ago, was the lack of appetite. When I stop eating, then I know that something is really wrong. So I was aware of that. I was able to post about that yesterday on Instagram. I've reserved Mondays for talking about eating disorders and sugar addiction and binge eating. The Mondays of September. October will be another theme. But I was able to do that, and I still said, you know what, but I think I'm just going to make up another category, which is called stop eating altogether, and that is scary. I noticed as well that I was getting tired and sleepy. That is usually a symptom that I'm pretty beat and mentally drained. You know, of course, the whole dynamics of fight or flight, and there's the freeze as well. And I think when things start getting really, really complicated, I go into the freeze mode. I'm just interpreting this, but I go into this freeze mode of I have to, abort mission, just get under the covers and sleep it off. Not only does it regenerate your mind, but and brings back the strength and the energy. It's just a little hideout. It's just a little, I don't know, it's restorative for me. You know how dogs, if you're a dog lover, or if you know dogs well, you know that dogs will yawn when they are not happy, when they're anxious, when they're put in a position that is not comfortable for them, they will yawn. My dog does this a lot. Of course, they yawn when they're tired too. That's a different thing. But then there's this yawn that means, get me out of here, mommy, now. I do that too when I'm not comfortable, when I feel I'm in distress. I start yawning, I start getting really tired, and I start wanting to retire into my bed, the solitude of my room, versus staying on and enduring that situation, whichever it is. It could be, this happens to me, prior to giving a conference or giving a talk or an interview for a podcast, not my own podcast, but being interviewed by other people. And I will do this when I feel out of my comfort zone. So it's not unusual to see me yawn on a date. It's not. And people, obviously, they'll take it obviously. I would be upset too. But it's just me. It's just my body dealing with the stimulus around me. That's really all it is. So I noticed that yesterday that I was yawning and tired and wanting to sleep and to go into this comfort zone of napping. And I did. I got into bed at 2 p.m., which is ridiculous. But see, there I am judging myself. It's not fair. And I lie down with my dog next to me. That's very, very calming to me. But my brain was just going 1,000 miles per hour, and I had like this pit in my stomach, and I couldn't breathe right. It was a big mess, really. So the way I got to go to sleep was I started mentally listing the things I was thankful for. So I remember getting into this meditation mode of I'm thankful for the health of my dog. I am thankful for my church. I am thankful for my therapist. I am thankful of having this tool in my toolbox of just knowing that practicing thankfulness is alleviating my anxiety. I am thankful for this warm bed and for a roof over my head. I am thankful for having been able to ask for help, and I am thankful that friends came to my rescue. So with repeating and saying these sentences to myself helped me go to sleep. And I did for maybe 2 hours. Again, don't judge. I know I am a little bit, but you know what? It's just life. And I woke up feeling a little bit better. I took my dog for a walk, and then I came back and I finished half of the episode, today's episode. That was more than I had expected to accomplish for the day yesterday. So I was happy, satisfied, not happy, but just like, hey, okay, I did this. Cool. And by then it was nighttime, and I watched actually something really cool I'm enjoying on Netflix called Mars. It's a National Geographic documentary / fiction of the colonization of Mars by us in, a couple of years, really. So it was engaging. I was learning things. I'm not a big science-y and techie person, but I do enjoy learning about, these pioneer stories and overachievers and just what people are doing these days. I wish they would care more about our planet here versus looking for ways to escape once it's damaged beyond repair. But I was just seeing what it is that NASA and the others are doing. So I would call this number 5 in my list of self-care things. Resting, chilling, enjoying a little bit of just comfort and just familial things like my TV, my bed, my weighted blanket. I have to say, those are cool. And as the evening progressed and I had my weighted blanket covering me, my dog next to me, the TV going on about Mars, I was coming back to my mojo. I could feel I was calming down, and once it was time to go to sleep, I was okay. Which brings us to today. So it's Tuesday morning. I'm late, way beyond reason as far as releasing this week's episode is concerned. But you know what? Just as I was telling my friend Kate, the earth didn't stop spinning, and the wildfires are still going on, and coronavirus is still infecting people, and my podcast didn't come out on Monday night around midnight. Well, okay, it's not the end of the world. And this little episode also taught me that it's okay to let go of perfection. You can't do it today, or you can't do it this hour because you're in too much pain, because you're experiencing brain fog, because your arm hurts from so many hours of chemo. you cannot accomplish the task at hand because depression, depressive mood, or your OCD or anxiety is sucking the energy out of you, then you know what? It's okay. I'm not saying that you're okay, that everything's going to be fine, everything's great, and you're strong and you can do this. No, it's okay if you get under the blankets. It's okay if you watch crappy TV, even though I didn't. That was pretty cool TV. It's okay if you don't tweet or Instagram or Pinterest that day. And it's okay if you feel like crap. But do ask for help and tap into how you're feeling. Just notice, do you feel like crying? Do you feel like sleeping? Do you feel like eating sugar like there's no tomorrow? Notice those things and journal them, sleep on them, go for a walk with your dog. The earth won't stop spinning, and surely no one will be able to stop Elon Musk from exploring and colonizing Mars at this point. So guys, take a breather, take it easy, and take care. This week's guest is Erin Horn, and she can be found on Instagram at StrongTrueYou, which I highly recommend. And I am absolutely delighted to introduce you to Erin. We got first introduced by another guest on Mindbloom. You'll remember Elena Joy Thurston from episodes 11 and 12, if I'm not mistaken. So we started talking, Erin and I realized Erin was battling cancer, and I had not realized that the cancer she was battling, and she is battling, is not breast cancer, but it's leukemia. And maybe it was my oversight. In any case, it doesn't matter. I'm so happy I got to speak with this wonderful woman. But it might have been my oversight, but I hadn't realized it wasn't breast cancer until the day of the interview. But in the spirit of never saying no to anything that comes my way, especially in terms of Mindbloom, knowing now by far that everything that's been coming my way has only been a gift and a blessing. All these women, all these people I have been in contact with are nothing but a gift from the universe to me, and I am so thankful for that. So in the spirit of not saying no to anything, I immediately said, no, of course. I mean, obviously, we've been talking, we already like each other and we're in sync. We feel the same way about so many things. Yes, let's do this. So what you're about to listen to is the result of our chat, saying that I am blessed and gifted for having had the pleasure to speak with Erin, to get to see her even though on Zoom, and getting to see her strength and her courage and her love for her family and for life is an understatement. I was moved to tears when speaking to her, and sometimes I couldn't finish my sentences as I was so moved and so emotional. And she is going through so much with 4 little kids. Have been praying for her, and I have been sending her my love and energy and good vibes and whatever else you can send. How else can you help? I encourage you to do the same, to please go find Erin on Instagram. Again, she's at StrongTrueYou, and go send her some love, go encourage her. She has cycles of chemotherapy until December. She has bone marrow biopsies frequently, and she was diagnosed during the shutdown. She saw her youngest take their first steps from the hospital window. She'll tell you more about the photo shoot she did when she, was ready to shave off her hair due to chemo. She'll tell you about the foundation she has amidst all this created to help others. In a nutshell, Erin is a force of nature, and I am so, so grateful to have had the honor to speak with her. I will add links to Erin's website and Instagram and photo shoot in the show notes. And I hope and I know for a fact that you will love this interview. I love you, Erin. I wish you all the best. I am thinking about you and praying for you. And I know that you are going to kick this blood cancer, damn leukemia, in the butt with your might and your strength and your power. So please stay tuned. It's right after this. Guys, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Turns out it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. It will also distribute your podcast for you so that everyone can listen to it on Spotify and Apple Podcast and many, many more. And guess what? You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So go download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. So thank you, first of all, for being on Mindbloom, on taking the time to do this. This is great. And you're gorgeous. You're beautiful, brave, and kind. I mean,
thank you for having me. I am honored to be today. So thank you for having me as a guest.
It's beautiful. I want to ask you, Erin, first and off the bat, what makes your mind bloom?
So what makes my mind bloom would be, honestly, my children. I have 4 little kids and I have a husband, and they make my mind bloom. Ever since I was diagnosed with cancer in April, I have realized how fragile life is and how precious life is. And so they've always made my mind bloom to an extent, but really the depth now where it causes me to realize, wow, life is so fragile. My interactions with people and individuals are so special, and the way that we treat one another is really important. That's what we're here to just be kind, and we're here to be brave.
Yeah, absolutely. You were diagnosed then during the pandemic.
Yes.
I did not know this. Wow.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit more. Erin, you don't have breast cancer. You have leukemia.
Correct. Yes. Acute Promyelocytic Leukemia is what I was diagnosed with on April 7th. And yes, it was at the start of the pandemic. And so it was both a blessing and a curse. It was good for the fact that everybody was canceling their appointments with the specialist.
So I was
right in. However, I also, with the type of cancer that I have, it's very scary. In that first week, they were telling me that if you make it past this first week, then we'll go from there. And I was very worried hearing the word if, because I was in the hospital by myself. I couldn't have any loved ones, my husband, family, friends. Nobody was allowed. It was just me with the nurses and doctors. And that was a very scary, real thing that was very lonely.
So not only you had your diagnosis and just this overwhelming change in your life overnight, And
Yeah.
you were by yourself. Oh, because of coronavirus. Oh, wow.
Yeah. My youngest child at the time, which still my little Madeline. I was a nursing mother. So I had to stop nursing her. And she took her first steps while I was in the hospital. So my husband was so sweet. He called me and he said, I have a surprise for you. And I was on the fifth story of the hospital. So I was up very high. It wasn't like it was glass to glass, like a lot of patients level see their loved one window. I was from up above, and he brought her to the hospital. And on the sidewalk, he said, well, he called me on the phone and he'd say, watch. And she took her steps for me on the pavement. And I just cried. I was so grateful for being able to witness that I didn't miss out on her first steps of life. Because I was in the hospital away from my loved ones during COVID and not being able to see them and be near them and be a part of those special moments. So I was very happy to be able to be a part of that and have that special moment, even though I was 5 stories up.
Oh, so brave. Oh. How did you have any symptoms? How did you get diagnosed?
Yeah. So around Christmas time of last year, I started not feeling well, but I thought I was tired. I didn't feel good. I started getting random bruises all over my body, but I thought I was just deficient in some type of vitamin or nutrient. And I thought, oh, I'm just a mom of 4 kids. This is normal to be tired. And maybe I'm just low on iron. And my husband kept telling me, go see the doctor, go see the doctor. And I'm the type of person, I take care of everybody else before myself, which I am learning to be different now. The importance of taking care of yourself first and your mental health and just your wellness. But we can get to that later as well. He's just kept telling me, you need to go see the doctor. So finally I went in, and sure enough, they ran blood work and my white blood cell count came back non-existent. And they said, you need to go see a specialist. There's something going on and you need to see a hematologist to look further into your blood work. So I was able to get in the very next day because all these patients were canceling with their doctors due to the scare of COVID. And I was so grateful because I got in the very next day. They ran some tests. They ordered a bone marrow biopsy right off the bat just to make sure everything was all right. And I got a phone call 4 hours later after I got home from the doctor saying that I had leukemia and I needed to go straight to the hospital, and that they didn't know when I would be able to see my family again, as that I wouldn't get to be with them. So it was very scary and very, a lot of anxiety, I would say.
What were you thinking as you were waiting those 4 hours? What crossed your mind?
Yeah, honestly, I kept telling myself it's probably just a disorder that I didn't know I had all my life, and we're just finding it now. There's no way it could be cancer. There's no way. I just kept shoving that little inkling that just kept coming into my mind that it might be cancer. And I was like, no, it can't be cancer. Not right now, not during this time. I have 4 kids. I've lived a healthy life, And so when I got the call and they said that it was leukemia, I just cried. And my husband just cried. We just fell to the ground and cried and wept together. My kids realized that something was wrong because they're young. They're 8, 6, 3. And then my little baby girl, she was 8 months at the time. And so they all knew that something wasn't right with mom because she was super sad.
So what is your course of treatment? You're now home?
Yeah. So I was in the hospital. I was supposed to be there for 30 days, or actually 45 days. So a month and a half, or a month and a couple weeks. And I ended up being in the hospital for a week and a half. So that was a little amazing as well. So got home, and my course of treatment, it was chemotherapy every single day for the first 50 days, 45 to 50 days. So I've completed that. And now I'm on what they call different rounds of chemotherapy. So I have 5 rounds. of chemotherapy that I need to complete. And then intermittent between those chemotherapy rounds that they give me, I take an oral chemotherapy via pill. And that is very hard on my body. You can just feel the insides eating up, and it makes you very tired. There's a lot of really horrible side effects with that, with brain fog and dry skin and just all those awful things, tremors. So I love photography, and I can no longer photograph because my hands shake so much and they're not steady enough to photograph a picture.
And soon enough, you'll be done with those 5 rounds as well?
Yeah. Come this Christmas, I'll be done with the 5 rounds and with all of the oral treatment as well, which it will be really exciting. So Christmas this year, I cannot wait for Christmas because that is my benchmark. And if I can make it till then and do all my treatments, I'm looking at a very high percentage chance of being able to just come in monthly for checkups to see where the cancer is at, see if it's there, see if it's in remission. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for or even better for cured for my type of cancer, my journey. But only time will tell, and I have to just take it one day at a time.
Yes, I will be praying for you for sure. I mean, you're a ray of sunshine, if that's it doesn't make any sense for me to say this, but you are so inspiring. I love your Instagram as well. It's just great to see your story and how it's developing. It's just great. And you're always just also strengthening others with your message.
Thank you. That's my goal. It's really hard. A lot of people will say that, they'll say, oh, you're doing so well, but they don't see the reverse side of it as well, that there's a lot of challenges as well. I have a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression that comes from having cancer. I have a lot of really dark moments. And so I've had to learn to focus my energy and my time in writing in my journal and writing positive and uplifting messages. When I do feel good, it helps me mentally to continue to look at the positive, because if I stay focused on the what ifs and the things I don't have control over, like my life. Basically, it's my life. And that's a really hard thing not to have control over right now, especially during this pandemic. And the more I focus on the positive and can look to the future and look day by day and find the little instances, the smiles in my children, smiles in the nurses and the doctors that are working so hard to help me have another day. One of my favorite sayings from a patient that I met at clinic, he sadly passed away. And so that's been hard as well. But he would always tell me, Erin, you have a bonus day. What are you going to choose to do with it? Yeah. And so I look at every day as a bonus day. And so when I start to get sad or depressed or anxious, I just have to remind myself, today's a bonus day. What am I going to choose to do with it?
Mm-mm. Would community also work as a tool for mental health for you as well? Could you tell me more about that?
Yes, definitely. Yes. My community right now for helping my mental health, it's really interesting because the nurses and the doctors at clinic, that in essence has become my second home, because I don't go anywhere. I literally stay home and go to clinic. That's where I go because my immune system is so weak and it's not there due to the cancer. And so the clinic is my community. The Lymphoma and Leukemia Society, that's my community. My community on Instagram as well, and Facebook, all of my friends, that's my community of upliftment, of love and support. And I'm so grateful to that. I could not do it without each and every one of them, especially the nurses and doctors. They work tirelessly every day for all of us. And I love seeing the other patients at clinic. I love making friends. My husband's joke is that I have a bunch of old friends.
Right.
one of the youngest patients at clinic because I'm 32, and a lot of the other patients are 60s, 70s, 80s, or older that are they're being treated for cancer. You know, they're towards the end of their life more so. So that's been very challenging as well, and has helped me to look at a better perspective and try to create that community and make friends there. And it really does help with my mental health, meeting them, learning about their lives and their stories. And it helps me to really reflect on how I'm treating my family and my friends and my children and my husband on a day-to-day basis because of them and because of their stories and because of the people that they are. And so I'm so grateful for that community there at clinic. And I'm so grateful for my Instagram and Facebook community, though everyone is so uplifting and they just send love and support. And they don't realize how much that means to me and how to take a really challenging day and turn it around for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can't imagine. I'm glad you have it. I'm glad you have that community. I have found mine as well in another department, but it is so uplifting, and it saves your life sometimes. Yeah, I know you have a wonderful photo shoot. It's so gorgeous. I'm going to tell the listeners, it's a photo shoot of Erin from the time she has really long, ginger, beautiful hair and then it's a photo shoot that goes through all these Mohawk style haircuts and all these pixie haircuts. It's a beautiful, inspiring photo shoot until the point you just cut your hair and you get ready for the consequences, one of the most famous and dreaded consequences of chemo. And I will put the link to this photo shoot in our in the show notes of this episode, of course. Tell us more. What gave you that idea? And
Yes. So actually, when I was in the hospital, I had a lot of time to think because I was all by myself. And a lot of cancer patients, they say that you'll lose your hair or it'll significantly thin. And it was amazing to me how it started right away in the hospital. The second you start that chemotherapy, anytime I would take a shower and comb through my hair, it just started coming out by the brushfuls. And I thought, oh, maybe I won't lose mine. Maybe I will be different. Mm-hmm. Fighting that inner struggle that I had because it's my beautiful long red hair. I've always been known for my long, luscious red hair. I've never colored my hair my entire life because I live in Arizona and I would get these beautiful natural highlights from the sun. And people would say, oh, do you color your hair? Do you put highlights? And I say, no, it's just from the Arizona sun. And they'd say, oh, it's so beautiful. And I loved it. I was known for my red hair. Mm-hmm. And so when I started to lose it in the hospital, growing up, I always wanted to try coloring it, but I didn't. It always made me nervous. And so I realized that a lot of cancer patients, they would dye it fun and pink or other colors, and then they'd shave their head. And I've always wanted to see what I would look like with different hairstyles. And so I thought, I don't want to just color my hair and shave it and just do one thing. I want to see what I look like in all these different hairstyles before I say goodbye to my red hair that I've never touched or dyed or have only trimmed throughout my life. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to contact my very good friend, Elena Joy Thurston, who actually was just on your podcast just a couple weeks ago. Yeah. She is not only an amazing speaker, but she is a phenomenal photographer. And so I called her and I said, Elena, if anyone can capture my vision of what I want, what is reflecting my inner emotions and feelings, it's you through the camera lens. And so we did. We set up I was able to go to her home. They had everything sanitized and wore masks, and we were very careful. And they hadn't, they had been in quarantine. I obviously was in quarantine. And then my really good friend who does hair, she came along. Her name is JC. And so she had also been in quarantine. So it was just basically the three of us and my husband. So the four of us. And we decided to have I decided to have some fun. And we went through each stage, and I really wanted to capture, I didn't realize that through this photo shoot, it would show so much more of my personality. I've always been an extrovert in life and have always made friends, but this really brought out my inner self and the true me. And I wasn't expecting that. We started with my long hair at first, as you'll see in the link, and as we went through each stage and they did the first cut, I just remember before JC started cutting, she said, "Okay, are you ready?" And I say, "Yes, I'm ready." And I just started to cry because I knew the second that she would take that first initial cut that there was no going back, that it wouldn't be immediately ever again. It would take time and growth, and it would be a journey again for me as my hair grew out. But there was hardly anything left. She did an amazing job making it look like there was hair there. I was so impressed. But because it was so thin, we were able to actually, it would take her literally 2 minutes for every hair. It's a very quick photo shoot because I hardly had anything to work with. But we went through each one. And I remember she cut my hair, and we first did the shoulder length. And Elena was teasing because for a lot of you city people out there, she's like, "Oh, you look like suburban mom." And I did. I totally looked like a suburban mom that had short shoulder length hair, not much style or anything to it. And it was so hilarious. It just made me laugh. And I was like, this is not me whatsoever.
The minivan mom was not you.
I was like, "Oh, I do not like this hairstyle. This totally is not me." We took a few photos, and we did not focus on that hairstyle very much because I was like, "Oh, Elena, it's just not me. It's not who I am on the inside." And so then we went to the next hairstyle, which I've always wanted a pixie haircut, always, but I've been too afraid to cut my beautiful long red hair. And so we went with the pixie hairstyle, and I was so amazed that I loved it so much. I always thought that it would make my face look too fat or too round, but it actually brought out my facial features, which were always hidden by my long red hair. And, as we were taking these photos, I was so amazed that even though I'm an extrovert and already am outgoing, my personality really started to shine through. And I started to realize that it's not about the hair. It's about the individual on the inside for each of us, no matter what we're going through. It doesn't matter what you look like, what color skin you have. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter if you believe in a God or don't believe in a God. It doesn't matter, if you're tall, short, fat, thin, all these things. Each individual is beautiful from the inside out. And everyone has this beautiful soul that is just waiting to be seen, waiting to be loved, waiting to be accepted. And so I really felt that as we went through each individual haircut, and it really opened my eyes. It really made my mind bloom in essence, because I have always been and considered myself a loving and accepting person. But I have really grown through this experience. And as we then transitioned to the fun mohawk phase, because I was like, why not? Let's do a mohawk. I'm never going to do a mohawk in my life, so let's do it now. I loved it. It was so fun, and it was so it brought out the sassy.
I know. I know. That is my favorite. The mohawk is my favorite. I love it. The shaved on the sides. I almost feel like I want to do this too.
If anyone wants a mohawk out there, I strongly and highly recommend it. You will feel amazing. And it was so fun. My husband was like, oh, wow, you look so tough. You look so confident. And he's like, you're a confident person anyways, but wow, you really are confident sporting that mohawk. And so I'm really excited. Right now I have a little baby.
You do.
My hair is slowly coming back in. So that's been fun to have a little bit of hair to style again. We transitioned from the mohawk to then shaving my hair. And the thing that I really appreciate about my friend JC is throughout the entire photo shoot, which is very touching to me, she would quietly in my ear whisper words of encouragement that nobody else could hear. And it was so touching to me because she would say, as she would cut my hair for each hairstyle, you are beautiful, you are strong, you are brave, you are still you. And those little tidbits of encouragement that she would tell me in my ear as she would cut my hair really touched me. It's so important for us to have self-love for ourselves. That as well really made my mind bloom there. The importance it is to look at ourselves in the mirror each day and tell ourselves that we are beautiful, that we are strong, and that we love ourselves. That self-talk can really help bring the anxiety down, help to relieve a little bit of our depression that we're struggling with and our struggles and our trials. And I was so inspired by those words that she would tell me. And so now today I do the same thing. Every morning I wake up and I look at myself in the mirror and I say, I love you. I love my body. Even though it has cancer, it's not perfect. My body's never been perfect, but I love my body. I love myself. And it's a reminder to tell myself mentally that I love myself and that I can be brave and strong and that I can work through any of these dark or struggling moments. So then as the last bit of hair fell to the ground, it was just silent in the room. Tears were in everybody's eyes. And my first thought was, I'm still me. I'm still here. It's my new reality. This is me. This is what I'm going through. And I am now a warrior fighting for my life every day.
I got tears in my eyes. I don't know if I can control myself. This is beautiful to be speaking with you. After, having seen what you have been doing and posting and the photo shoot. So I was very curious to actually speak with you. And it's just making my mind bloom to see your strength, your bravery, your courage, really. You are enough is something you would recommend to people to say to themselves, and I love me, I love you, looking at yourself in the mirror. What else do you have for us?
Yes. So I recommend for all those listening today, a lot of things that have helped me through my journey. We talked a little bit about community and meeting people that have the same struggles as you do and being able to uplift each other and more relate with one another. Mm-hmm. That is very helpful to have that. But honestly, the things that have helped me most as well has also been meditation and writing in my journal. Those two things have really helped me to get all of I would call it the brain fog in my mind and all the things swirling around in my head out on a piece of paper, and been able to look at it with my eyes and see it as a tangible thing on a piece of paper. It might not be tangible in the world, or the feeling might not be tangible, but to have it actually written down on a tangible piece of paper just has really helped me. Definitely recommend journaling and writing things down, even the bad days. I have a gratitude journal, but also in my gratitude journal, I have negative things as well. A couple weeks ago, I was having a very hard time and I just cried. And I had a good friend who I met at the clinic. Her name is Amanda. She's fantastic. And she is battling cancer right now as well. And she was telling me to just embrace the bad days. And so I did. I just embrace the bad days. Sometimes we can't always pull ourselves out of those challenging moments, and knowing that it's okay to have a bad day is very important. I feel that a lot of times we're very hard on ourselves. And so what I want to tell listeners today is don't be so hard on yourself. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to have a bad week. It's okay to be in a weird funk for a month that you're struggling with, Hey, the light will come. And as you do these little things of writing in your journal, as you take time to meditate and to just be still, that's been my favorite thing at clinic. As I wait in one of the patient rooms for her to come, I'll slip off my shoes, I'll crisscross my legs, I'll set my palms face up, and I'll close my eyes, and I will just focus on my breathing, and I will just be still in that moment and just focus on my breath. And doing that helps get all of the worry, all of the struggle out of my mind, and it helps me to just be in the moment, to be in the now. And I think that is very important for us in today's world with much going on with this pandemic, with so much going on in our lives, all the uncertainty. Learning to just be still can really help us to then look forward to the future. It can help us to work through our thoughts, work through our emotions and our feelings in our journal, and to continue to press forward with our lives and to set small goals, which are very important for us. A lot of people will say, I didn't do anything productive today. Well, you did. If you got out of bed and you got dressed, you did something amazing. And don't be hard on yourself for that being the only thing that you accomplished today, because it is so important that you got out of bed and that you got dressed, or that you got out of bed and that you made yourself some breakfast, or that you sat at the table. Those small victories that you start to focus on those positive moments, then turn into like a steamroll. It turns into a giant snowball, is what I'd like to say. And it just grows bigger and bigger and bigger until then you realize and you know that have reached great heights because you have focused on the small and simple things that have grown. And then you'll be amazed at where you are at the end, and you'll look back and you'll say, wow, look where I am now today, because I started focusing and praising myself on the little things. I started telling myself that I can do this, that I love myself, that I can be strong, that I started journaling. I have been taking moments to meditate and be still. And so for our listeners today, just start there. And it can be 30 seconds of meditation. It doesn't have to be 5, 10 minutes, 20, 30. Just start small and celebrate the little victories.
Right. We focus so much on the car and the job and the apartment, and it's the smile of your children that matter, or, just getting through another round of chemo.
Sometimes you have to scale back a little bit. A lot of times I'll look at December and I'll get so excited for December to come that then I realize I'm really sad. And I'm like, why am I sad? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's because I'm focusing on today. I'm not focusing on this week. And when I focus on the little by little, the end will come. December will come for me eventually. It'll be here. And so as I do that, it's very helpful. So don't bite off too much more than you can chew.
Yeah. And the power of focusing on the now is also, because I try to do that. And again, I fail at it as well, right? Or I wouldn't have a podcast on mental health. It's tough. But the power of thinking, being in the present and thinking of now is that it is true. Now you are healthy. Now you are okay. Now at this very moment that I'm saying these words, everything around me is stable and is okay, and it's uplifting. It takes you places, because again, if you project in the future, like you're saying, December, then that's when things get all out of control. And it's a secret. It's almost like a little secret. Once we get access to this little secret, everything gets so much more manageable, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. It really does become more manageable when you look at it little by little, because even in my cancer journey, on a day-to-day basis, it changes. And so I've had to learn. I've been a very, my family will tell you that I like to be very organized. I like to plan and be in control of activities that we're doing or my future week. And so having cancer has really helped me to learn to not fly by the seat of my pants, but to learn to adjust and to adapt and to be able to be okay with change. I think that's been the hardest part, is with the change of having the cancer. Because one day, like today, I'll be feeling great, but maybe by this afternoon, I'll be sleeping and I'll be asleep for 3 to 4 hours because my body's just exhausted or it just needs it. Or tomorrow I won't be able to eat because I'm so nauseous from the medications that I'm on. Or I won't be able to get out of bed because my head is spinning and I have the worst migraine. Or my skin will be so dry that it's very hard for me to eat or to even talk because my lips are so cracked, or I have so many mouth sores in my mouth. So just these little moments, I've really have learned to be able to look at the day-to-day function and to just soak in those moments of sorry, I'm going to get a little bit emotional here, but to soak up the small things, the laughter, the messes, to let go of not worrying about the house being clean, but to focus on my relationships with my spouse, with my kids, with my family, with my friends. That has been so important to me through this cancer journey, because that is what's most important in life, is how those relationships with others. So another thing that I would encourage listeners to today, if there's a relationship that is struggling in your life, I want to challenge you to be strong and brave and to slowly start mending it. It might be scary and it might be really hard, but life is so fragile and it is short, and you never know. You never know. You never know when you're going to get in a car accident. You never are going to know if you're going to get hit with cancer. You never know if you are going to not be able to make it out of bed or fall into a deep depression and not want to talk to anyone or have debilitating anxiety. And so focusing on those relationships are so important to mend and to make healthy. That's obviously in a safe way as well for you, because I realize there's also relationships out there that can be toxic. So I'm not saying to run to those toxic relationships, but to mend relationships that are going to be healthy relationships for you and assist you on your journey.
Yeah. So basically step out of your comfort zone and explore whatever is there that the world may be offering you, or life may be offering you, and you're not realizing yet that it's good for you to accept it. It's a gift. Sometimes these gifts are look very poisonous. But yeah, and as you know, I've been talking with people who have been gifted with all sorts of challenges. Elena, your friend, is one of them as well. And there is another example of strength and stamina and courage. And then the next step, which is taking their story to others and empowering others and showing others that, we can do this. If we all hold hands, if we all stick together, the world will be a better place too. Yeah.
It's very true. Yeah. I wanted to share with you, I'm really excited. So, going through all of this has really changed my another word. I love the word perspective. I always use it when I look at things now. I think, okay, what's my perspective, or what is their perspective? And so I'm very excited. I recently have changed my Instagram handle to Strong True You. Mm-hmm. I will be launching my website later this month, in a week, for my Strong True You Foundation. A lot of patients are alone right now in the clinic and in the hospitals, but because I am a cancer patient and I'm allowed in the clinics, I'm starting up a foundation that will allow patients like myself or that can go in the hospital to be able to deliver little bags of relief. So just little bags of sunshine that we're going to be doing. And I'm so excited to be doing this to bring some hope and joy to others in their life. And so I'm excited to be able to spread that joy to them through the Strong True You Foundation that I'm setting up. Because I believe that we can all be strong through our trial. We can be true to ourselves and true to what we believe or true to what we want. And then we can be you, meaning we can be ourselves through the process. And we don't have to give up or change who we are, but that who we are makes the world more beautiful and makes our trial and what we're going through more beautiful because it makes it unique to us and to who we are. I'm really excited to be announcing that as I do that to bring hope and sunshine to others, it won't just be for cancer patients, but later this year around Christmas time, we'll also be opening it up to a couple of families that are in need of help from the COVID pandemic that we can deliver gift cards to or mail them to. So just wanted to put that little tidbit in there for our listeners today that I'd love for you to continue to follow along my journey and find ways that you can help and be involved to help minds bloom and find themselves through their journeys by bringing joy and hope and light. Appreciate you so much. And I've really been enjoying your podcast. It's been fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much.
To others and for the joy that you're bringing to individuals through the stories that are shared. That's truly inspiring.
Thank you. And your story will inspire so many as well. It's inspired me already. It's unbelievable. I will be on the lookout for news from you. And I want to see your health progressing and everything, as we come closer to December, although no pressure. Let's not talk about we're not talking about December right now, but, or you shouldn't, but I can do that. I will be keeping my eyes peeled to seeing your life bloom and blossom after this not so good phase of your life and of your family's life. Thank you so much, Erin, for coming on, for making up the time to speak with me.
Thank you for having me. It's truly been an honor. And thank you out there, listeners, for joining in today for Mind Bloom. It's been wonderful having you. And I hope that something that I have said today will touch your heart and inspire you. And just want to encourage you to start little and work from there for your victories and that you can do it. And if anyone believes in you, I do. I promise. So true. I believe in you and you can do it.
And that was our episode for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you were able to take away some useful tips and tools to use in your own life. Don't forget to subscribe to Mind Bloom the podcast anywhere you stream your podcasts, and please leave a message on the Anchor FM voicemail if you have any questions or comments for me. Also, please leave a review on the Apple Podcasts app. That would help the podcast reach more people. That would be great. Follow Mind Bloom on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at MindBloomU. And check out my website, mindbloomu.com. Don't forget, a new episode every Tuesday. I look forward to spending time with you again next week. Be well and stay blessed. Bye-bye.